this is Naomi with Sword and Steel, and I'm doing a little bit of something different today because my birthday is coming up and this is going to be my birthday gift to myself. But it's going to be Age of Sigmar themed, I guess. I realized that I hadn't done it in 2 years. I haven't done a big painting like this in like 2 years, and today's the day. So, the first thing I have to do is airbrush the sky on, which I use with a nice sky blue and some white, and follow that up with some more blue, and then I cover some of the white and some of the blue with a slightly transparent yellow. I use both a fluorescent yellow and a lemon yellow to achieve this effect. Oh, and then I use contrast paint Talissar blue to bring out the blue of the original color I put down. And then I make the suggestion of a sun in one area. And here you can see I'm looking at my phone because I actually have a sketch of what I want the big picture to be done with. And I'm following that for guidelines to see where I will put all the trees, and it works really great for coloring. It's because you can change the color on your phone instantly, and then all you have to do is match the color, which I'm very good at. I'm good at matching colors to what I see. Anyway, you can just match the color to the sketch that you did. And then once you've got all of that sketch figured out, you can move on into the big picture. As you can see, I'm using just one brush and just wiggling it around, turning it around, just creating the, I hope you can tell, these are going to be trees and leaves. And I'm using a mix of black and forest green and sometimes scooting in some contrast paint Warp Lightning, because Warp Lightning is such a bright green, but it's transparent, so you can brighten up a shade of green that it was a little bit too dull for your liking, but you still keep the hue just more vibrantly green than it was at the beginning. Alright, and here I'm just using a wet wipe to make very faint impressions of trees by cleaning up some of the green and then leaving it on and patting it around. I use what I have. May it be wet wipes, or paintbrushes, or my finger. Now I'm using a very bright green, mildly translucent so that the yellow underneath can be seen through, to show areas that are being hit by that sun more than others. I think one of my favorite things to paint is trees. Something calming and relaxing about painting trees. You don't have to be perfect because trees aren't perfect. So I'm actually enjoying myself a lot. I might be concentrating and not smiling, but believe me, I'm enjoying myself a lot. I'm just so intent on what I'm doing. And that's why I can't actually talk while I'm doing this process. Besides the fact that I put my paintbrush in my mouth whenever I'm getting out a new paint. Alright, and now I'm using that same lemon yellow that I used during the airbrushing to apply yellowy green leaves that are even closer to the sun. Well, maybe not closer to the sun, but they're hit by the sun more than anything else, is what I should say. And now I'm making the tree trunks to give a lot of wonderful contrast between those bright, whimsical leaves and sunlight. And we're gonna have some nice dark tree trunks. Just putting it all in black first to get an idea of where I want the tree trunks to be, before I'm going to brighten it up with a mix of blue. My tree trunks are actually going to be bluish. And no, that sounds kind of odd perhaps for tree trunks to be bluish, but it works, believe me. Oh yes, and I'm darkening some of the leaves to give it even better contrast. And yes, I'm doing it in black. Don't worry, I'll change it up in a bit. The shadows are so vivid when you've got such bright light. So that's why the tree trunks and the tree branches are so dark until they get further away. When they get further away, well, then there's going to be more atmosphere between you and them, and so they're going to turn more blue. Ah, yes, and here's where I'm changing to using more blue at the tips. It's still mostly very dark, but should see a mild effect of making it look like the trees are farther away as you approach the tops of them. And as I promised, there shall also be Sylvaneth in here, so these nice dark trees will help blend the Sylvaneth into their environment. For those who aren't familiar with the Sylvaneth background, or Age of Sigmar background, the Sylvaneth are tree folk, basically. Dryads and treants, large tree folky creatures who protect their world against chaos. Not chaos as in the out of order part, but chaos as in like evil cultists and barbarians that just want to destroy everything. That sort of chaos. They have a goddess called Alariel, and they are very skilled in combat, both ranged and melee, actually. The Sylvaneth that I'll be painting in here are going to be tree lords. I may take too long at this painting. Once you're in the zone, it's like hard to figure out where you need to stop. But hey, I'd like to think that every part that I add to it makes it look better. This is basically doing the same thing over and over again. Right now I'm just adding the branches, adding tiny little branches. You know, the ones that you see and you can't quite tell which tree they're coming from? Those branches. And don't worry, I will be adding multiple layers of leaves. Can't leave all those branches bare now, can we? Ah, I see. I am starting to draw my very first Sylvaneth. Sylvaneth should be able to blend in with the trees pretty well. And it too, I'm just starting off in black. I've got a rough idea of what I want him to look like, since he's going to be looking something like a True Lord Ancient. I'm not going to have him in the position the model is in, so I do have to wing it a bit. But he's going to have a nice staff, and it's going to be all magical looking. I think he's going to be more vines in his body than the regular Sylvaneth, but he'll be notably tree folky. Just laying out the other one. That's right, there's another one there. He's less likely to be seen at a glance. And right, there's a tree behind him that I have to improve upon as well. And then for some reason I give him a bit of a cone head. Don't worry, I'll get rid of that after I realize what I've done. It's a work in progress. There we go. Now we're actually going to add some leaves that are black and blue, because there is no light coming from anything except for that sunlight. So anything that is not hit by the sunlight must be quite dark. And yes, I do use a wet wipe to fix up anything that I don't quite like, or to smooth out, be a little bit more blurred. Do I use a wet wipe every time I'm doing a painting? No, but it seems to work nicely for trees, I find. It also allows you to, if for some reason you make a mistake, well, the stuff underneath is dry and what you just came out is wet. So because these are all acrylic paint, you can just wipe away your mistake with a wet wipe. Well, as Bob Ross says, not necessarily a mistake, but not exactly what you intended. Where he goes with it, I erase it in some cases. Now I'm honing in on where I want all of the sunlight to be hitting. Perhaps I spend too much time on this, but as I say, this is me at peace. I do get a little bit too close to the sun, and I'm not happy with that, so I try to wipe it out and realize that the green has dried, so I'm a bit sad, but that's alright. I can fix it. I can fix it with yellow. It'll look perfect. Would you like to hear what painting sounds like at 1,000 times the regular speed? find it sounds like a chipmunk or a squirrel or a mouse fiddling around with something in leaves, maybe. Which really suits the atmosphere of this painting. This is when I fix the cone head, realize I'm not too keen on cone head Sylvaneth, and I add the spooky eyes, just in yellow. Spooky eyes. The yellow of the sun. I want them to be like disapproving that you're there, but not necessarily sinister, or just like watchful, disapproving. I'm not necessarily going to hurt you, but you never know. You know what? I think it looks good in the light. Now it's another day, as you can see, and that allows me to paint in a different light. I've got light coming in from the door, and there's glass doors behind me. Here I'm fixing up my sun and using my fingers as a paintbrush. I decided to add a bit more orange around, just where the sun is hitting off the leaves. Thought that might look nice. You can let me know. I think it just brings a little bit more realism to the leaves. That's what I'm going for. Realism and enchanted at the same time, because this is a magical realm of life. And it should be gorgeous in my mind. And I see that I flung back my hair and now it's a mess. I've got to stop flinging back my hair. But I'm too intent on what I'm doing. I don't even know that I've messed up my hair. Oh well. I'm now the crazy painter. Everything is just going to a mess. The painting will look beautiful, but I'm going to look terrible at the end. I can see that. No, I am not ready to cut my hair. But sometimes I get angry with it. This is clearly one of those instances. That's right, I am laughing at myself as I'm watching my own video. Though I'm learning something too. I can't say I've actually done a full painting on video before. This is my first one. So it's interesting to watch my own day. I learned something from this. It's coming along nicely. I've cleaned up that sun with just, as you can tell, my fingers. Just plop a little bit of paint on my fingers and move it around, either white or yellow, depending on what I need. I clean it off my fingers each time because I only want a little bit on it. The finger can mimic actually the airbrush. So if you don't have an airbrush, you could always just use your finger. I mean, it takes oh so much longer. But hey, you can mimic airbrush strokes by using your finger and wet wipes, because you're going to need to use them. Here I'm testing out what it looks like if the tree trunk had a bit more blue on it. I think I'm going to go back and repaint it a bit more black because I added too much blue to that tree trunk. Maybe. Yeah, I think so. Maybe down near the bottom I'll keep it more blue, but up towards the top I need to thin out to make it more black. I'm going in and bringing another level of yellow to all of them, and I think also doing their bellies yellow at this time. Oh, after I improve upon the staff, I'm going to keep fiddling with the staff until I like what it looks like. I mean, originally I kind of went with the idea of the Tree Lord Ancient staff, but that staff was restricted in what it could look like because it's a model. Well, I'm not restricted, so I'm gonna go full magical staff on that because I'm not satisfied with the staff initially. Here's another view. Less of the light is being reflected off of canvas, so you can see it better. This is more accurate to what it looks like in reality. It's looking pretty good. Trying to make my Tree Lord Ancient impressive as well as blending into his background all at the same time. It's something I have to work on. That guy, I like how he looks. I'm gonna fiddle around with him mostly, but he's gonna be mostly in dark. The one on the right, I mean. In the description below, I'll show you each of the colors that I used. And yes, they are model paints because I didn't actually have any bigger sized paints when I was doing this, since I hadn't been painting larger ones in years. Let's see. After this video, I think I will... I actually don't know what I'm going to do. Playing it by ear, really. I was hoping to get more battle reports on the go, but since I am unable to bring any opponents around during the quarantine, I could make battle reports where it's just me playing. I mean, that's always an option. I could play against my alter ego. What do you think of that? I'll just play against my alter ego. Who knows who's going to win? I won't. Dice roll gives you that. And it's just like playing against someone you know really well, right? I don't know. Dress up as a goth version, whose name is going to be Imoen. Imoen versus Naomi. Who's going to win? I am really at the finishing touches now, adding the last bit of yellow to the leaves, and also to the Sylvaneth themselves, and also adding the bushes that are closer to the viewer than the tree lords to finish off that distance effect. I hope you've enjoyed this painting and my uninteresting commentary. Alright, here it is. Well, thanks for watching, and for anyone else who is in quarantine with birthdays, happy birthday, and I hope yours is good. I don't know what I have planned for my birthday. Probably baking a cake and eating it happily. I'm not actually that difficult to satisfy. I'm good. Chocolate, yes. Chocolate's gotta happen. Thanks for watching. Bye!